Bruising Banner Podcast. Bruising Banner Podcast. What up? Welcome to Bruising Banner Podcast. I'm your host, Rob G. And with me, as always, is the legendary Brew Crew. What up, fellas?
I got water, I got, juice or whatever. He's like, y'all need twin legs? Matter of fact, I do.
My question to everybody is,
does Delaware have an actual culture?
This is the podcast that we talk about beer, but we also talk about a lot of things that's happening in the world, politics, movies, anything really that comes to our mind while we're here sampling these brews. Grab a drink and pull up a chair.
Yeah.
What up? Welcome to Bruising Banter Podcast, where the topic is the rocket and the brew. Well, that be the fuel. And I'm your host, Rob G. And with me, as always, the legendary Brew Crew. What up, fellas?
What's up?
Hi.
Hi.
Yeah, we are down a Brew Crew member today. Shout out to Lou. Belgium.
Belgium. Sorry you couldn't be here right this moment.
All right. But we'll hold it down for him.
Yes,
today
indeed.
is episode 80 of Bruising Banter Podcast.
Welcome to the 80s.
Hey.
Yes.
The 80s was a good time for me. Say that.
Truly were. I got to experience all 10 years.
I got that. Well, yeah, before the 80s, you were not existent.
I know.
Tail end of the 70s. So, like I said, I got to experience all of the 80s.
Oh no, I'm talking about Yoda.
Yoda.
Yeah.
He wasn't born to the 80s. But this is volume 16 of our social distancing
Good
series.
job, Rob. There you go.
Yeah, brother did his homework early.
What you mean earlier? Like 2 minutes ago, you look.
No. Hey.
We're gonna test you. We're gonna test you at the end of the episode, like now.
He gonna forget.
Don't test me. Yeah. So that does mean we have a special guest with us today. We have Jay Wesley, author, fashion designer. Is that a thing?
Relationship expert.
Here we go. Spoke about that.
Right. Well, we welcome you.
Yeah, thank you for having me. Loving the
Renaissance
energy so
man.
far.
There you go, Renaissance man. There you go.
Renaissance man, Brooklyn boy, plant dad.
There you go.
Yes.
The list goes on and on.
There
Good.
you go.
Bike rider through the city.
Yeah, man. I'm trying to work these love handles down, man.
Here we go.
But before we get started, we need to know.
When you said bike riding through the city, for some reason I automatically thought motorcycles, but he was really like pedal bike.
Pedal bike.
I was pedaling.
Okay.
Pedal.
Hey, ain't nothing wrong with that.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, that's a dope app though. I said I'm gonna get a bike, so I'm probably gonna need that.
Yes. Gotta get a bike. Gotta get a bike.
Yeah.
Dude, you don't know how to ride a bike.
7 days a week, buddy. I'm on mine.
Nice.
But before we get started, I need to know, what is everybody drinking today?
We start.
We can start with our guest. Jay, what are you drinking today?
It's a good thing I brought my bottle with me too, in case I wanted to refill while we were talking.
Uh-huh.
So I'm drinking the Glenlivet Caribbean cask.
Nice.
Yeah, so I'm a big rum fan, but I also love whiskey.
Mhm.
So it's whiskey aged in rum cask.
Nice.
So it has it's a whiskey with a hint of rum note. So that's what I'm drinking right now.
You're drinking that currently. What time is it again?
What proof? What proof is that? That's the big thing with the rum and whiskeys. What proof is that?
It's 80 proof.
Oh.
It's 80 proof. Listen, I was trying to be right for y'all podcast, man.
Yeah.
So,
That sounds like you might be wrong for the podcast.
Right.
Like John Legend said, get lifted.
He about to be telling all the things about his FDU days.
Oh man, don't bring me back. Don't bring me back. Steel reserve.
Shit.
Make it stop.
Still reserve.
That's a dangerous can right there.
Jake is still full of. He said, "Make it stop."
Yes.
And still reserve.
Still reserve. Yeah.
Now we drinking these craft brews. We buying this upper echelon beer.
All right. And he got the whiskey and the well, not bourbon, because you have to be in Kentucky to be bourbon, right? Is that what we learned last week? Yeah.
Yeah. Is that right?
Yeah. So, Deb, what are you drinking today?
Whew, I'm going a little, I guess you would say, a little more pedal to the metal than usual. I'm drinking 2 beers. So the first one I'm drinking on today is the hazy double IPA. It's called the Stratostrophic Damage. This is by Precarious Beer Company, Beer Project, I should say.
Project,
Sorry about that,
right.
Beer Project. They're out of Williamsburg, Virginia. So we had visited it's already been almost 2 weeks, huh?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. So 2 weeks ago, roughly, we went down into Williamsburg and went and visited the brewery. So shout out to Precarious. And that's an 8% ABV. And I'm also going to be cracking this Black is Beautiful. This is their version of the Imperial Stout with cocoa nibs, chilies, and allspice. And this is coming in at 10% ABV.
Wait, whose Black is Beautiful is that though?
This is Precarious
Precarious
Project. Yeah, I might have missed that out, but
you might have said it.
Their version of their Black is Beautiful. So shout out to these guys for.
Yeah. You want to say that to next week?
You know what? I was curious because you cracked your Virginia, didn't you?
Yeah.
You cracked your Virginia.
Yeah,
I don't have to drink it. I can drink the other one. I can drink the other one.
Because you're gonna be the only one who not have one. Yep. So you might as well go ahead and.
Yeah, I'll switch it. I got another Black is Beautiful Imperial Stout.
All right. Yo, what you drinking?
What I'm drinking on is a Cafe Cruiser, and this is espresso vanilla stout that comes at a 6.2 ABV, and it's from Black Flag Brewing Company. They out of Maryland somewhere. I'm not sure really where because it's not on this can. I just remember.
Yeah, it's not too far from Harlan. Where's Harlan at? Harlan's in. He passed it yesterday, Friday, when I was talking to him. A lot of like near. They're near. Are they not? They're not near Laurel.
Probably.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, somewhere around there. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's just it looks like your regular stout,
Okay,
stout.
And you got it in your Black is Beautiful
of course
glass.
I got it in my Black is Beautiful glass. See, I wasn't going to use my
10% drip.
I was going to use my Bruise and Banner glass, but then I was like, once you pour a stout into that glass, it just fucks up.
Takes away the
takes away the label.
But this here, it sets it off when you pour that black in there.
That gold, that black and yellow.
Yeah.
But it's a pretty good stout. It is very espresso-ish.
Espresso-ish.
But it's real good. I'm tired, so hopefully the espresso will help me out here.
Don't fall asleep with that beer.
Okay.
I ain't gonna fall asleep.
No sleeping while drinking.
I got 2 beers myself. My first one is from Love City. It is the Love City Brewing. It's the Hazy Rider #1 pineapple brewed in. It's a hazy India Pale Ale with pineapple. There you go. It's nice.
So that looks
nice
good.
color. Yeah, and my
of course you do.
Black beer culture
glass. Shout out to Mike. And
got all the black people glasses. I swear to goodness.
I try to support black business.
I know you be on them too. Like I be missing them joints all the time.
You gotta be ready. I got like I was just saying, I gotta get my share from the Jay Wesley collection. Oh, we can talk about that later. But
I need a do-over, man. Yeah, I got the black business, and I'm busting out Glenn Levitt. I did not get the memo.
It's just the glass. Though.
It's just the glass, though.
It's just the glass.
Yeah. Glasses.
Yeah. And I also got a Precarious Beer Project beer as well. It's the Argo Vento. It's an Italian style Pilsner right there. So be checking that out.
I have another beer. I forgot.
After I finish this one, I can't. Or I could shotgun it right here on the. No, I'm just joking.
Go ahead. Go for
all
it.
16 ounces. Do it.
Go for it.
Absolutely not.
He gonna be like, oh, this is Bruce Boogies.
Yeah, we
Exactly.
gonna make that a challenge on one of these episodes. Just all of us just go ham.
Yeah, I need a
We
12
gotta do
ounce
it.
though.
We gotta do it.
Oh, come on, you can do it.
We gotta
You
do it
can
in
do
the
it.
glass though, just to make sure that we can see who won.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, you
I've
mean
even
Chuck?
seen
yeah.
I've even seen contests for crowlers.
Yeah,
Oh,
I'm good.
fuck that. I'm not
Ain't that
juggling no
crazy?
crowler.
Unless if it's like 4%, you might be high. You be all right.
Man,
but
I
like
don't care
a-
what percent it is. That's a lot.
Going to sleep immediately.
This is too much to take down like that. By
Yeah.
yourself.
Yeah, true.
I forgot I had this zombie date night too. It's a Imperial Porter, which I may open, I may not open, but it's a L brew with raspberries and cocoa nibs too. But this is 9.6%.
Okay.
I didn't even know that. I just drink it because it's high ABV.
Yo, just sit that on the step for me though. Sit that on the step for me.
Is that why it's called zombie?
Yeah,
Zombie
that
date
shit. Yeah, this zombie slumped over in a car. That's a bad promotion, but okay. Drinking and driving.
Or is it good promotion?
It could. I mean, it depends on how you look at it. But it's from 3 Stars Brewing Company out of Washington, D.C. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
I see that drip. I see that drip on that can. That thing frosty.
Man, you know.
Yeah.
You gotta
All right.
keep
Sound
it
like
cool.
everybody's drinking something to get them, I guess, nice. If you're
Yeah,
drinking
get
a
'em
lot
nice.
of it.
I probably shouldn't even be drinking that the way I feel right now.
8%. We flying high.
Yeah. All right.
When my eyes get low and I start slurring my words, just cut the podcast. All right.
Nah, that's what
That's when they
that's
get
what we gonna
good.
turn up. That's what we gonna ask all the questions.
So tell
That's
me more
good.
about that book. Exactly
Who
what
are
relationship
really
was
some of
that?
the people's
He gonna be like, well, let me tell you about that bitch Keisha that I wrote the
Like I said, we do have Jay Wesley here, and we want to get into knowing about him, and I guess the whole bio, how he came to be a writer, an author, and then the Jay Wesley collection, like I mentioned earlier, and how that came to be as well, and any other projects you got through. So again, welcome to the podcast, my brother.
welcome.
Thanks for having me, man. Thanks. I'm honored to be here.
Sure.
Really dope. Yeah, but like how I started, to be honest with you, I think I kind of started in college with away messages. I'd be going through something emo and just typing away status, and people were like, yo, can I get that? Can you mind if I copy and paste it? So I think that's when I really had my first taste in writing. And what made me take it a little bit more seriously was, I think, that MySpace era, like the post-Black Planet MySpace era. I remember I was in this relationship. It was a very turbulent relationship. And we had gotten into this bad argument. And I'll never forget, I know how you know I was younger. I had a bottle of E&J VSOP.
Well, now you don't need to go any further. We know where the argument started.
I had a bottle of E&J VSOP and a blank computer screen, right? And I was just in my feelings, Pisces. And I wrote the opposite of what I wanted to feel at that moment, right? And so I was like, this is not what love feels like. This is what love is supposed to feel like. And I ended up just posting it on my MySpace page just because. And people were like, this is great. Like, you need to write more. I'm like, no, I'm not a writer. That's not what I do. It was just, I was just really just purging and just releasing. And I stayed in that relationship, but every time we would argue, instead of me just getting angry, I would just take it out on the pen. And so every 3 months or so, I would just have another post. And then I realized something about myself. It's like, I don't have to get angry, which I was very much into when I was younger. Like, I was very confrontational. I was like, I can just take out my frustration on a pen and turn darkness into beauty. So that's how it started. And so I read this quote, I believe it's Toni Morrison. She said, if there's a book you want to read and it hasn't been written yet, you must be the one to write it. And so, with social media, I was just getting tired of seeing relationship pages, but it wasn't really geared for men. It was men speaking on behalf of women. And anyone that has conversation, enough mature conversation, we know that we're not that different. We communicate differently.
Right.
And so what I started doing, I was
Still
just
need
writing.
love, all that.
Yeah, we do, you know. And so like we're a little bit more, we're reluctant to sometimes be expressive with women, but we'll come to our boys and share all our problems and frustration, right?
Gotcha.
And so what I started doing was writing, but instead of saying he, she, it would just be like non-gender specific words. And so what happened was when women were reading it, they were like, wait a minute, I feel this, but this isn't a woman writing this. So that was my way of building a bridge of communication between men and women. And at first it was really for Black people, because that's all Black love, right? And what I realized later on, as like my page started growing followers and stuff like that, love is not just isolated to us, it's everyone. I had
Universal.
like I remember I had a dude from like the Midwest on the tractor. I had a picture on the tractor. It's like, listen, brother, man, I just thank you for your page. You get me through a real difficult situation. I was like, wait, what? And then someone from India wrote me, hey, I'm going through a divorce. You have no idea how much your words are saving me. And I was like, wait a minute. Like emotions aren't isolated to just one people, one gender. We all feel it. And so that's what made me really start taking it seriously, wrote the book, and I've been doing it ever since.
What's that ever since? That book, when did it come out?
Yeah, so the book I published in 2016.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, the book I published in 2016. The goal is this year to publish another 2 more.
Okay.
So my issue was I was always just trying to hit a home run. I was overthinking the process, right? And kind of second guessing myself out of it. But this year I realized, like, you have to believe that you're good enough. And, you know, like, you guys started a podcast. And I don't know how long it took you to actually get to the table and record the first podcast, but the process, right? And so like this quarantine has been really helpful for me to really figure out next steps. So the goal is to have 2 more this year.
Right. Now, did you say what the first book was called?
Oh, no, the first book is called Right His Wrongs, From Heartbreak to Love Notes. And so it's talking about relationships from a male perspective. And it literally goes from heartbreak, where, you know, I'm somewhat the villain. Like, my experiences when I really didn't know what relationships were all about. And then there's a piece called Karma, when a girl broke my heart, like I was breaking women's hearts. And so I got a taste of my own medicine. I'm like, wait a minute, I can't let anyone else feel the way I didn't want anyone to really feel or go through the emotional toll that I was going through that breakup. And so the rest of the book is you're navigating your emotions, trying to get it right, still making mistakes in the process. And Love Notes is like that more advanced, elevated version where you kind of have a better understanding of what relationships and communication is supposed to be.
Oh,
so does anybody know what are their poems, right?
Yeah, they're a mix of like it's lyrical, essay, and poetry.
So anybody actually know who they're about besides yourself? Like, do the females know?
Some of them. Interesting. I had an ex come at me. She's like, I'm not in your book. Why am I not in your book? I'm like,
whoa.
At first, I was like, why would you want to be in the book?
Right.
You know, but I think it made me realize that a lot of people want to just feel like they mattered at some point in your life, whether it was the good or maybe they contributed to your maturity. And so I was like, and I told her, I was like, you don't even realize you're spread throughout that book. It wasn't one poem about you. Like, there's sentences, there are moments throughout the book. That's you. You know, there are pieces that are.
I just sound like you got good game.
Nah, man.
Oh, yeah, you all out the book, you know.
She said, what you doing, big head? I get it. That was a good line, though.
Yeah, you all out the. Yeah, that's what I said. That's a good game. That's what that sound like.
No,
out the whole book. You
Sprinkle
that whole thing,
done, man. Shut it down.
No, I'm saying that was true. It was true. We go with it. That's what's up, though.
But I'll be honest with you, like, I think that book's the most vulnerable thing that I've ever experienced, because I didn't really grow up from a household where we expressed ourselves. My family's from Jamaica.
Right.
My dad is a true Jamaican, you know, and so they show love, but I never heard I love you. I can count sometimes, right?
Yeah.
And so I had difficulty when I was dating because I can write how I felt. I had difficulty voicing and being vocal about my feelings. And that's the way I wanted to communicate. Like, let's get off the phone. I can text you how I feel right now, you know, but you know, when you're in a relationship, they don't know, your girlfriend doesn't want to hear that. Your wife doesn't want to hear that. And so it forced me to grow up. And a lot of those pieces are me maturing as a person. And, you know, people think because you're of age, you're supposed to know these things. Like, no, like life is about experiences and learning from experience. I had to learn how to be a better person. Like no one just gave me a map and said, this is what you're supposed to do, but it's the route you're supposed to take.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
That's what would you say, free game?
I would call that free game.
Yeah, sure. So I think, I mean, so relationship expert is
you
is valid. That's a valid
expert. Because anytime you can give a non-gender specific point of view of something, you could be a relationship expert. Because I'm definitely always going to come from the male side because women got too many issues for me, and I just don't want to deal with them. So I always just say it from my own point of view. But I know I read I was reading, I don't even remember which one it was, but at the beginning you did say it was from a male point of view, but as I was reading it, I was like, I could see how a woman could understand this too, though. Because it kind of, even though it was coming from a male point of view, it was like still some of the same things that a female would go through too. So at first, when I read that part about the male point of view, when I was reading, I was just like, I think this is from everybody's point of view. This is just from a person's point of view at this point. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Real dope, man.
Right. Because you take the experiences, and I mean, love is universal. I mean, so it's pain and hate and all that. Yeah. Like those things are universal. You may some people may have different perspectives, but in terms of the actual emotion, I mean, they're all valid. So we all have a story about someone who broke their heart. I mean, if you don't, then I guess I don't know if that's lucky.
I don't think that's lucky. I think you need that for growth purposes.
Right.
Like just in general, not even in I don't even think like relationship wise. I think just like growth, period. And just in just being in the world, like you need to have your heart broken at some point, whether it be in a relationship or like you had, whether it be like a relationship with another party or your dog dies. I don't know, but like hurt is just something that would be just part of nature. You know what I mean?
Right, for sure. So you said you're trying to get 2 more projects out this year for accountability purposes. No.
Listen, do it. Listen, I love accountability partners, man.
So what's the first project you work? The newest project, one of the newest projects you're working on.
So the 2 books, they're gonna be like more. They're going to be shorter, more like coffee table reads.
Okay.
One is going to be it's going to be following up on the first book, but the other one is going to be somewhat along the lines of like 5 love languages, kind of like a self-help book, allowing people to kind of assess themselves and collect inventory on how they're feeling in order to kind of in order to grow in like whatever phase they are. So like those are the 2 I'm working on now.
So if you said the first one was like you being a villain, is this one, the next 2 are you being a hero?
No, this one is, I think the next one is kind of dark, but I like dark because I like dark. To me, dark is beautiful. Like to your point, what you said earlier, like you have to, in order to be successful, you have to somewhat fall in love with failure. That's how you grow. Like, you have to make sure you're not repeating the same mistakes.
Right.
I think a lot of people don't heal because they don't pay attention to the things that broke them. They kind of become numb or they move on, but they never really face the challenges. So they repeat the mistakes. And so the next one, the title right now is When Yesterday Doesn't Love You Anymore. But that's not even just a love thing. It's like, that's a life thing that even going through this quarantine, when you sometimes you feel forgotten by the world because you're kind of isolated in your home. So I'm really excited about that because it's darker, but there's a light at the end of it. And I think it'll allow people once again to assess themselves and be able to build upon that platform.
That's true.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that one.
As
Sure.
you keep delivering this game, one thing, Jay Wesley, I'm thinking about is how
And-
you know
Yeah.
who do you go to for
Not advice.
Games advice? Okay. Who do you go to for like support, whether in the form of therapy or just kind of wisdom or mentorship? Like who do you tend to rely on for your growth?
I have a couple, I have like my best friend is very crucial, and like when I'm experiencing difficulties with like cared people or business, because he's an artist also, so we can have that kind of conversation, and that's someone that can relate to what I'm going through.
Yep.
I have my mentors are people that I also constantly communicate with, and as I've gotten older, like my parents and my grandmother has that old school wisdom that is still applicable to this day, but mostly like my best friend, because I have friends that aren't biased. They're not going to side with me just because it's me. They're like, no, you fucked up, like you need to go fix that, you fucked up. And I need that. We need friends like that, that are going to check you. And so like that's my circle of support.
That's what's up.
Yeah.
Okay.
Big on that. That's what's up.
Now I guess it's recently launched the website Jay Wesley Collection, correct? Now how did you go from the words on the page to the words, I guess, on the shirt?
Is that one of your shirts you got on there?
Yeah, this is one of my new designs. I haven't released it yet, but it says "I love us."
Fresh.
Oh, word.
Right.
I like that.
Thank you. Yeah, and I always, when I wrote the book, I would read some of my pieces, and I'd be like, that would be great on a wall.
Right. Yeah.
So the Jay Wesley collection started because I wanted to create wall art.
Okay.
And I did a pop-up shop, and I had wall art, and there was always this phrase in my head that said be art, and be dope. And so when I did the pop-up shop, I had all these like framed arts, and I had mock-ups of this sweater that said be art, and people like, your wall art is cool, but I need that sweater. And it was just a sample. I literally just had it there to kind of raffle it off. Yeah, which is interesting, and that's just how life works out. You think you're meant to go this way, and then just like that, you find a new lane. And so I'm like, people, they were really feeling this sweat. I said, all right, let me just print out 10 and see how well it does. And they just started flying off, and I was like, wait a minute. And I was kind of capping my own blessings. Like, you're not going to do clothes and merch and stuff like that. Absolutely I could do. So, once I popped the lid, I just started, not only think about creative phrases, but design. Like I tried to create products that I would wear. People are going to feel good, but also somewhat very inspirational. So that's why like one of the new ones is Be Proud. It has like a fist in the middle. Just like, so even though it's clothing, but it's still tied to being inspirational, just like the words and like the books. So it's clothing, drinkware, and I'm working on the wall art piece right now too. So that's how Jay Wesley Collection started.
Okay.
Yeah, I notice nowadays, like being able to. It used to be like the wall art and stuff like that. It was good to have in your house, just like the love and all this stuff that you see hanging in houses. But I noticed that nowadays, like people rather have it on a t-shirt or on a sweater or hoodie or something, because that way everybody can see it, not just people coming to your house and that's visiting or anything, but actually you can walk around, wear that shirt 3 times if you want, 3 times in a week if you want, you know what I mean? Everybody can see it. And so when you got dope like stuff that like the shirt that you got on now, like that's something that people want to express. Like I love us, like you know what I mean? And so people want to walk around with that on. So I can see how you kind of like switched over into that lane instead of the wall art being your first thing. Like,
Thank you.
Because that's dope, man.
Right,
yeah,
because
sorry.
Oh no, you got it.
No, I was gonna say, like, I have 2 friends that also have podcasts. Like one is around mental health in Black men, and my other friend has a musical podcast, but that incorporates education and hip hop. And we've been talking. I'm like, you guys need merch too. Like, I love the idea. Like when you guys were going through the Bears, I'm learning, like, I'm gonna play this back so I can actually purchase some of these beers. And so they're also like expression, but they're billboards for our businesses and the content that we're creating. So I don't know if you guys have a T-shirt. I would love to support.
Oh yeah.
But if yes. See, so I could be walking around in Brooklyn with one of your shirts.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Very cool. Yeah,
because it's kind of it's cool because like you were saying in terms of the messages that because you said a lot more inspirational messages, but and not just being hanging on the wall, but when you walk out, you affect yourself because you like, yo, I got the shirt that says be dope, but if somebody else reads it and they're like, you know what, I should be dope, I am dope, I should be art, I should be love, and all that. So so that's cool. So because when I saw it, I was like, yo, I have to have one. But then
That's the reason I had that. I had a hat, and I don't even wear hats. This is really the first hat I wore in like maybe like 10 years now. But I bought a hat because I wanted to have a hat that said "Still Black, Still Proud, Still effing awesome" or something on it. And like a lot of people stop me and ask me where I got the hat from, because it's just something that says that make you feel good. Like I'm still black, I'm still proud, I'm still meaning. Like
absolutely. Absolutely.
That's why I like reading people's shirt, but sometimes I forget when I got on the shirt like "I love us," because people be staring at you and shit, and you don't even know what they're looking at. You be like, "Oh, they was I get it now." Because I be like, "What the hell are they looking at? Why everybody looking at me?" And then you be like, "Oh, the shirt they're reading."
I think what was dope, right? Literally the Friday before they shut down New York for the quarantine, I risked it all, and it was my birthday, so I had a birthday happy hour, and I understood. I was like, "Listen, if you can make it, you can." We didn't know it was gonna be this bad,
right.
And so literally that Friday before, and a great feeling. A lot of the guests that attended showed up in some of the merch. So you had Be Dope, Be Love, Be Art, and so just imagine that group picture. They're there to support you, but then it's really important too to know that there are people out there that support your art and your business, because anyone that has created has probably experienced when they thought their friends and family were going to be first in line to support, and they weren't there, and you wonder, am I doing the right thing? And so it's good to know that people believe in your ideas, people believe in your content, and are willing to support, not just verbally, but also financially too. It's just a really fulfilling feeling, man. So, and I always try to spread that and encourage others to feel the same thing.
Now to circle back to the relationship part, like in terms of when you were when you were doing,
you need more to drink now.
Whiskey makes me happy.
Hey.
You got to get that on the shirt now.
Yeah.
That shit'll work, I'm telling you.
Whiskey makes me happy. Like I was saying, just circle back into like the relationship part. Like when you were writing the poetry and the essays, was there a common theme that you felt, that you realized that was like that? I guess that was maybe a flaw or something that's reason why some of these relationships didn't work, and that you can like say like point to one thing. Was it just communication, or was it something specific that you realized that it was in you brought that same piece into each relationship, I guess?
But before you even say that, like, is it something that you brought into the relationship, or is it something that you keep picking up in a person that you decide to deal with?
I think it was a collection. I think it was a combination of both. And the book was a collection of relationships over the span of about 9-10 years. And so a lot of it was me. And I tend to I'm very, very hard on myself when things go wrong. So whenever a relationship didn't work out, whether I was the one that broke up with them or they broke up with me, the first thing I do is like, how did you fuck this up?
Right.
Like, I always analyze myself first, because I don't, they say when you point your finger, they're when you point your finger at someone, they're 3-pointing back at you.
Yeah.
Right.
So the easiest thing is to blame someone else for why this relationship didn't work. And I really just I really analyzed, how was I the villain? What did I contribute to this? And so a lot of it, I think, was myself.
So did you notice the pattern of what it was that you were doing?
No, I think it was. I wouldn't say it was a
Different stuff.
pattern. It was different relationships had different elements. I early on, I had like an early 5-year relationship that was like from say maybe like 21 to 26, and I was just young and dumb, right? And was afraid to commit to something lifelong, and the fear of commitment at that time just brought out different characters or characteristics of myself that was very toxic, and I self-sabotage pretty much. That's what it was. That actually, if to your question, I think that was a pattern. The self-sabotage.
Self-sabotage. Okay.
Self-sabotage. I think that was definitely a pattern, and I think that came about too because I wasn't communicating how I felt enough. And so like I always use the image. It's like a soda bottle. Like you shake. That's how I was. I wouldn't say anything. And then you shake me up. And then when I finally speak, I erupt and I make a mess.
Right.
And so it wasn't until I got older I really understood the true importance of getting stuff off your chest, having a mature conversation. It really took me dating someone that was extremely non-confrontational for really learn about myself, because I had to learn to use my words. My words were often wrapped in tone, because like my family's like that. Like they love you, but they're angry. Like, you know, when they're angry, it's also expressing they're on high. Yeah. And so her being non-confrontational, the moment your voice raises to a certain pitch, she's out. She can't have a conversation like that. So it forced me to really take a step back, use my words very carefully, and really and that was the relationship, you know, that taught me, or that's when I had the most growth. And that's also when I wrote the book, when I was in that relationship.
So where's she at?
She ain't with me. Yeah, she's not. So we actually broke up while I was about to publish that book. And so that's why I took a lot of the emotion and I ended up putting it into the heartbreak section, because a lot of people don't know when I was publishing the book, like I literally was going through a heartbreak, and that book actually saved me at the time.
Okay.
Because I was actually, you know, on my way to get married. So to go from saving for a ring to now being single.
Right.
But everything happens for a reason, because when we broke up, I had a trip scheduled to Europe. And Rob, that's when Brian and myself bonded, because we were both going through breakups at the same time, but we had scheduled that trip months prior. And so on that trip, I said, you know what? Fuck that. I'm going to create a business. I'm going to finish writing and publishing that book. And it really took that breakup to elevate me to the next level. So then I became a business owner. I became a published author. So it was supposed to happen the way it went down.
Thank you.
Well, it brought clarity.
Yeah.
Along with the trip, you had somebody to heal with as well.
Right.
Shout out to Brian.
Brian. Yeah, that's how we became closer. You know, we both were going through breakups at the same time, and we were roommates. And it was 4 of us, but we were roommates throughout the trip. And so, you know, then we were talking about communication, and we're both like alpha men. And for us to be talking about this and actually being expressive about our hurt, I was like, wait a minute, I'm not alone. I feel the same way. Like, what are we gonna do?
Right. Yo, both was in there sounding like Drake.
Drake with pigments. So you know, like
that's funny.
Before Drake was rapping, huh?
He said alpha men, and actually alpha men.
They alpha men. Yeah.
Yeah. Wait till the album come out. I'm not done yet.
Hey, that might be next.
That's next. You got some vocals.
I can't sing.
But you know what? But your words are good enough to be a writer, though. Like you can write.
I would love to.
You can write songs, yo.
I would love to. I would love to.
I heard people on the radio that cannot sing, but they are singing. So.
Yeah, that's true. But some people don't want. Some people got pride and dignity.
I was telling my boy that designed. We worked together, and he designed a shirt. And I was telling him, I was like, it's like I have these ideas, but I can't draw. He said, "So let me tell you something. Puffy doesn't play an instrument. Let that sink in." Right. And I was like, And that really hit me
That's
like a
true.
ton of bricks, right? And so I was like, it's in my head, and so you can work with someone to get it out there. You don't
Get it
have to be
out.
great at this in order
To make it a
make good.
masterpiece.
Mhm.
Yep, I agree.
Bit.
Yeah, Puffy don't write raps either, but he went platinum.
Right. Exactly. That goes good ghostwriting.
Hey, he writes check. Don't worry about if I write rhymes, I write checks. That's what he told you.
Yeah, yeah.
Right.
Listen,
Jay can
One
write
day.
songs, though. I can see him writing songs. He even look like a songwriting nigga. Like, look at him right there. He got the look.
Oh, you talking about me?
Yeah.
You know why? Thank you, brother. Thank you.
Speaking it into existence.
Yo, I can see it.
He look like a songwriter.
Man.
Yeah, he looked like a songwriter. Like he got yeah.
Let me go get my fedora.
Yeah. and since he already writes from a non-gender aspect, man, he can write for women and everything. Like, what's the boy name wrote the song
Like
The
Neo.
Yeah, like Neo and Dream, all them niggas.
Right.
That's where the money is.
Mario Winans. I don't wanna know.
Yeah, I'm telling you,
Yeah.
if you can write a song that a female can sing and like you can feel it from a female's aspect, boy, if I could write that shit, I would, but I can't.
That's the Jay Wesley songbook coming soon.
Yeah, you might as well go ahead and put it out there.
Honestly, to be honest, like the goal for me, because like the majority of my followers are women, but for me, it's fulfilling when I hear men provide positive feedback,
Yeah.
and men are inspired to go beyond what they were doing before. You know, like
Right.
I'm a man, and don't like, and I have to sometimes check people. Like, don't forget, I'm a man. I'm a black man also. Like, I know you relate to my words, but don't strip me of that.
Right.
Because
Right.
I can't tell women how to feel. I can just express how I feel as a man. And if you relate, you relate. Like, I'm not, it's like, I tell people my page it's not a feel good page. It's a heal. It's a page for healing. You know what I'm saying? And that goes across men and women. I think if you look on social media, we get the short end of the stick all the time. Like,
Right.
we're always blamed for everything. And that's not the case. Like, I think we all need to take accountability for the choices that we make, the people that we choose, sometimes how long we stayed there. And I question thought, like, all right, you stayed this long. Why did you stay that long?
Right.
Right.
You know, and so that's what the page is about. And honestly, if you come to my page, you heal, you get to where you need to get to, you can unfollow and live your life. Like, someone told me that
I'm just a vessel. I'm just a vessel.
Yeah,
Right.
someone told me you're lifting wounded soldiers. You
Mm.
know, and for me to write, like, I actually have to go in a dark place to do that. Like, I have to sometimes feel what I went through as I was hurt, or as I was mourning a relationship. Imagine like mourning a relationship and the person is still alive. She just doesn't want to be with you, you know? So
Right.
there are just thousands, millions of people that are going through that on a daily basis. And
Man, because
like you said, I'm
everybody
just one
goes through
vessel.
that, man. I think everybody goes through that, but just doesn't express it.
Facts. Exactly.
That's what it is. I think it's just like everybody goes through that same situation, but it's just a handful of people that actually express it and not just hold it in. Especially as men, like men, we hold stuff like that in. We're not gonna like spill our guts like that, but
Right.
it's just something that we do.
Right. Now you talked about you were like a soda bottle being shook up, and then have you gotten past that? So how do you work through that? I guess in terms of not being that anymore. Was it just that relationship, or was it after that relationship you learned to even do more in terms of you built upon that?
Hell yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Two things. When I don't like something, I share it immediately so people don't repeat it. And I've gotten better at creating boundaries.
Mm.
And it wasn't just relationships, it was friendships. Also, it was a lot of things. And I really started seeing people for who they were and not for what I wanted them to be. And once I really started exercising that muscle, I had to cut a good amount of people out of my life because
that's great. Actually, I mean, I was going to ask you if you had to cut people.
what? And it's the hardest. I work with youth, right? And I used to remember telling a lot of inner city youth, and I used to always tell them, if they're not pushing you up, they're holding you back. If they're not pushing you forward, they're holding you back. And then I had to ask myself, like, but are these people pushing you forward?
Right.
You know that, like, when you have a success, why aren't they happy for you or applauding you? Like, why, when you have a good idea, you did something, you had like mild success, why are they sprinkling hate on it? So I had to like take a step back and really analyze or assess like the people I've been hanging around with. And once I cut those people, I noticed I had a freer life. I wasn't as stressed, and I wasn't being as volatile when I got upset like I was in the past, because I was also releasing some of that tension and anger.
All right. Yeah, because I think we had something like that in terms of I think when AC was on here, she was talking about some of the people that you bring around, and that energy, as it all feeds off of each other. So that makes a lot of sense.
And I actually, I don't know if any of you guys are empaths.
I am. I know I am for sure.
See, and so you know the importance of energy.
Yep.
Right. And so like it's very important. Like I feel energy.
Yeah.
And so I can tell when something is off. Like, actually, one of the first things I said when I got on this podcast, I was like, I love the energy.
Nice. Nice.
That's the first thing. One of the first things I said, I was like, I love the energy. Like, I feel energy, but I also know the pros and cons of energy.
Yeah.
And so once you, but there's an emotional maturity that's attached to that. And once you figure that out, you realize you can't subject yourself to that at all.
Yeah.
Right.
That's why I had limited friends.
That's why you have
no new friends. No new friends.
I don't have none. I had one friend, and then the podcast. That's it.
That's it.
It's because it's like there's less people to worry about. There's less people that you got to hear their issues, like stressing me out. I don't got to hear. I got my own.
I feel you.
So
now we were talking about songwriting and stuff like that. Now, have you thought about like taking like some of your words and like making like a script type of thing, like and put it on visually, like a sitcom, or even like a I just watched something on Netflix Prime. Actually, it was called Modern Love. So they took like, I guess, vignettes or whatever it is, like relationships that they were in. It was each episode was like a relationship. So each episode was a different relationship, something like that. Have you thought about doing something to that effect as well?
Yeah, absolutely. So before the quarantine, I was really strongly thinking about moving to LA. So part of LA is, I wanted to work. The goal is to work full time for myself, but I also want to get into film.
Okay.
So yeah, like it would be dope to create like a, like that Issa Rae lane where you have a great web series that.
Yeah, if you ever need somebody to act, I'm a good actor.
All right, listen. All right.
Yeah.
But the thing is too, like, I don't want to just stay in the relationship lane. Like, I have a culture book coming, like the Black Experience in America. Like, I've been working on that. Questioning church and religion. That's another thing that I do.
That's
often.
gonna be the hardest, longest book ever. For real.
Tell us why. Tell us why.
That's a lot. I mean, because it's a lot to break down religion. Like that's a lot. Because
it's a lot to unpack.
Yeah,
because a lot to unpack.
And it's funny because when my daughter asked me the question a couple of days ago, she said, first she asked, what came first, the chicken or the egg? Couldn't answer that. Don't fucking know. So she says, who was the first person on earth? And she said, because if it was God, then who made God? And I was like, she said, if God is the creator of all things.
I'll get back to you.
She said, if God is the creator of all things, who created God? I'm like,
oh, you just got to tell her he is the creator.
There you go.
The Alpha and Omega. There is he is the beginning and the end.
But how? How did he? How?
Yeah, it's not through your normal conceived method in which probably got in her mind.
Right. Like, how? She's like, how? And I'm like,
it's because they're like, but tell me, like, I need an answer.
Yeah, I need all the answers from the beginning to the end. Yeah. Tell me now. I'm like, don't got them.
Took her to that good Genesis.
So after after COVID, hopefully 2021, is that still something you? Hopefully I'm saying 2021.
Yeah.
Hopefully. Is that something you still think about going to LA? Is that still something that you're still planning on doing?
Yeah, it's something I'm still considering. But one thing I've learned with this quarantine is don't rush.
Right.
Like, like make an informed decision. Like when it's time, you'll know it's time. Like I think I was rushing the process. I was fed up with New York. I just wanted out and nice weather. But the quarantine really forced me to dial it back and just learn patience. Or have a new respect for patience. Right. So it's on the agenda. But if, even though I question church, I'm like, if God has it that I'm supposed to be in LA, I'll be in LA, but we'll see where the chips fall. We'll see where the chips fall.
So I'm wondering if it's like because of the quarantine, right? Have you thought of anything that you can do to maybe push forward or what you want to do in LA, but just not leave the house? Because with the internet being so popular,
Well, that's why
you might be able to do.
Yeah, like absolutely. I think right now this is the window for. That's why I've been putting a lot of my energy and focusing onto the Jay Wesley collection, because e-commerce is where it's at, and there's no going back after this. Brick and mortar, we're starting to. It just expedited. It was always on track, but Corona just expedited it, and so the need to have digital platform is higher than ever. So whatever I decide to do moving forward, one thing I always ask myself is how can you market this digitally?
Right.
Because you have to now. And so like when I go to LA, hopefully I have a digital platform to the point where no matter where I go, whether it's LA, whether I want to go to another continent, the internet is the internet. I will still be able to have a roof over my head and pay the bills. Right.
But they put most I guess romantic comedy type of things or romantic shows. They mostly put them in Brooklyn, right?
That is true. Most of them shows are in Brooklyn. That is true.
But Brooklyn isn't Brooklyn anymore. And I think that's another reason why I want to get out of here. Like the home that I knew, the Brooklyn pride that we had growing up when no one wanted to visit because they were too scared to visit at times. It's changed so much, So it's great for a movie, but this doesn't feel like home to me anymore. That's why I guess they can't have these romantic comedies because Flatbush. I'm from Flatbush, and Flatbush is changing over here. Brooklyn has changed.
I mean, so this is controversial, but why LA then? I said then why LA?
He went to weather.
One.
Someone told snow.
someone that I know that moved to LA said it's LA. It's great it's easier to heal when the weather is nice, right?
Okay.
And so, my goal in life is to never see snow again unless I choose to go skiing. So, so that's one reason I want to go to LA. I have family out there, and my best friend Jeff moved to LA too. So I won't be by myself. So I can be creative. I can have my accountability partner right there, and I never have to. I don't have to worry about this crazy. And LA is not that much more expensive than Brooklyn now. Brooklyn might. So
I think Brooklyn #1 now. I think
Brooklyn is ridiculous right now.
It tops San Francisco. So I think Brooklyn is #1.
Oh,
in terms of.
I don't think it tops San Francisco yet.
I think it did. I think I read an article 2 years ago that said the rent is crazy high in Brooklyn.
It's definitely getting there. Like I remember in my building, it was predominantly Black, and now sometimes my neighbors want to make me feel like I don't belong here, or they question whether they should hold the door for me when I'm walking through the door with my grocery bag. And I've been living in that building longer than they have.
I was going to say, I wonder if it went up so high to keep us out, like.
Oh, yeah, that's some of the. That's some of the.
That's what they do.
Absolutely.
Gentrification is a lot of the push out the rent, push out the people who were living there before. I mean, that's how it works. They tear down. Personally, I think that was one of Bloomberg's last parting gifts because you're only supposed to serve 2 terms, but he served 3. Right.
And once they restructured a lot of those rezoning, those real estate rezoning laws, it was the end. It was the end of New York as we know it.
Yeah.
They just started building high, charging more money, and just pushing people out.
Yeah.
Right. And then when you rename something Dumbo, is it Dumbo?
Dumbo, but Dumbo's always been Dumbo.
Oh, it's always been Dumbo. Okay,
Dumbo's actually always been Dumbo.
Like downtown Brooklyn or something, right?
They just call it Dumbo.
Yeah, it stands for something. It's like down under Manhattan Bridge something. So it's
Yeah.
like it,
Shit.
but
But they got
Dumbo,
that.
yeah.
But they got like this one apartment building. I think was like the hardest thing to sell. It was crazy expensive. It was ridiculous. It had like a clock tower type of thing.
Okay.
It was on one of those real estate shows. I can't remember what it was.
Probably. It's New York. It's New York. I'm not surprised.
Millionaire listings or something.
Yeah, it was like a millionaire listing. Yeah,
Okay.
because it's like not too far from the Barclays. I mean, I think Jay-Z's responsible for this.
Yeah. I think it's one of the few places where you could purchase a home for $2 million, $3 million and not have a driveway.
Right.
Yeah, I want that kind of house.
You write too, just Jay West. It says short for down under the Manhattan Bridge overpass.
Overpass, yeah.
Shit.
Neighborhood in the New York City borough of Brooklyn. The area is known. Dumbo used to be known as Gareville. It encompasses two sections, one located between the Manhattan and Brooklyn bridges.
He said, I'm from Brooklyn. I know this stuff. But I guess now it's sexier that now everybody knows what Dumbo is. Maybe before people did not know.
There was nothing there. Like they were all warehouses back in the day.
Right.
So
yeah.
All right.
Hello, Brooklyn. How you doing? It's like-
Okay. All right. Any other questions for Mr. Wesley? Anything else you want to say or want to tell the people?
No, like I actually had a question for y'all because I think this is a dope podcast. Like,
nice.
So my question is like, what's next? Like, well, I hate to be the person that like when you're creating, people are like, what's next?
What's next?
Yeah, I like what I'm doing right now. That doesn't always
Right,
have
man.
to
Back the hell up
be-
off us, man.
We didn't ask for accountability.
What's next is that our next guest is coming on. Get over here.
Beat it. No, I think this is a great idea. Like I don't know, I know you said this is episode 80. Like I'm just assuming like you given the content people have like maybe sponsor you, etc.
Right.
But like one thing I noticed about podcasts that I enjoy, I love the idea of the live show.
Yeah.
Right.
So like when y'all have a stage and record live, so you guys let me know if that's in the works.
Oh, yeah.
Because I would love to be an audience member for that one. I will actually bring beer to that one because
That one we would probably provide the beer because that's like before we got into quarantine time, it was more we would sample 3 beers, everybody would get to sample it. So we would have the show, probably have the sponsors probably have those beers so everybody can experience what we're experiencing at the same time.
Right.
But COVID kind of shut everything down. We were having our first kind of live event in March, like the end of March, but
COVID hit like the 2 weeks before COVID, they shut down everything.
Yeah. But we are working for something for July next year.
Yeah, we are.
So how did it start?
The podcast?
You ain't supposed to be interviewing us, man.
Rob, hit it, Rob, hit it.
Well, originally I came up with the idea because I wanted to do a YouTube channel. Originally I thought like YouTube channel, but now it's like you need cameras, then you need somebody to hold the camera and all this stuff while you're interviewing people and talking about some of and enjoying craft beer that I like to drink, but also talking about things that are happening in the world, like politics, movies, entertainment, things that I enjoy to talk about. But then I was like, you know what? A podcast, I just need a mic and some guests.
Where to put it? Yeah.
So eventually, first it was like me and some, and the first episode was like me and they were guests. But I was like, well, I don't really like the feel of that because I don't really want to talk to myself all this time. So I was like, yo, can y'all be full-time members of the group? And they were like, yeah, for sure. Yeah. So that's how it kind of started. And 80 episodes left later.
I'm still working. I'm still working on recording my first one. I have the name. I have the domain. I just haven't recorded it yet.
Yeah, you just gotta do it.
Yeah, that's right. You just gotta start. Because if you listen to our first and second, actually the first 7 are trash.
Terrible. Horrible. From the sound to
the sound, right?
Everything.
And just to add on to that, Jay West, like he was saying, like we became full-time guests, and like over time, obviously, when we're all done either recording or listening back to episodes, we always wanted to make improvements on it. So it's like, okay, so what can we do to not just highlight these beers, but what can we do to, maybe venture out into the community and go to these breweries and start like the brewery series where, we're on site at a tap room. We get a tour of the place. We get them to even, kind of unload how they got into it and that whole nine. And then they kind of run through like a flight of beers and what inspired it, what the characteristics, all that stuff. And then we even started going to the brew festivals that where we beforehand obviously set up a plan, figure out who we'd have time to interview on site or whatever, or before the brew fest, or either after the brew fest, or either during. So we've been on this expansion, like not even roller coaster, but on this ride for now 2 years will be in October.
The main thing is just to let some of these craft people see some black folks, let them know that we drink the same thing they drink. We can afford to buy some craft beer too.
Craft beer, yeah.
All right. Well, so if you take with that, we probably are close to that 8, probably closer to that 90,
to 90
with the brewery banter series. Probably close to the 90 episodes, maybe.
Yeah.
But I try to exclude those. But yeah, that's pretty much how it started in terms of just, the love of craft beer had to be the first start. And even actually Lou, who's not here, he didn't drink beer at all really when we started. But now he's working on becoming step part 1 of a Cicerone, which is a certified beer server. So he's actually been more involved in learning more about beer. He got his own Lou Belgium handle.
He was the least beer drinker out of all of us.
Yeah.
So
I think it's dope because I know for me, like personally, I'm not the biggest beer drinker unless I'm on vacation.
Right.
But
that's when you usually relax and drink. Okay.
But all for like as a guest, all it just takes is for me to see people or individuals that look like me, that have a genuine love for it. I'm like, all right. Yep. I'm gonna go venture out and at least try this. So keep it up, man. And you guys inspired me. I'm gonna.
That's what's up. That's what's up.
I have whiskey and rum, but now I have to put beer.
Yeah, and see that's the thing.
I need to put beer in the fridge.
You got to go to Brooklyn Brewery and ask for Gary. Oh, okay. I gotta. All right.
Yeah.
Cool. Gary,
he's the owner.
Master brewer. He's the master brewer there. So,
master brewer.
Really nice guy. He's really trying to give back to the community. So he's really, really, really cool guy.
Tell him that you heard about him through Bruce the Banner podcast.
Right.
If you never, have you been to Brooklyn Brewery? No.
No, I haven't gone to Brooklyn Brewery, but I know everyone here knows the Brooklyn Brewery.
Well,
okay.
And
just kind of give you my perspective of even like how I got into craft beer. I always, drank or liked, craft beer, but I think where my exposure really was expanded was from going to Beer Fest, where you had, 80 to 100 plus taps there, and you didn't even know that they could infuse all these different flavors into a beer. And I kind of, I don't want to say pigeonhole myself, but I kind of stayed in the lane of what my tastes were like. I was huge IPA, really didn't mess with red ales, didn't mess with stouts, didn't really touch anything other than just mainly kind of IPAs because they truly reminded me of kind of that Heineken taste that I liked and enjoyed. So I always just kind of stayed IPA. Then I started going to the beer fest. And it was like me and Rob would go one year. We would tell, we told Yoda about it. It's like, yo, you gotta go too. And, and it kind of started a movement of like, we all need to go. And we ended up being like, like 4 black guys. And it was a sprinkle of other we had the same T-shirts on that said like Drinking USA on them with the Olympics, his wife, Rob's wife, made the shirts for us where it was the bottle caps for the for it, and they were like in the shape of like what the Olympics ring would look like. and we had the pretzel necklaces on. Everybody thought it was a hit. All the white people was like,
Oh yeah, I was gonna say. So you'd be surprised how many white people see 4 black guys or 3
Yeah.
guys, and
Every
they be
time,
like,
yeah.
oh shit.
and so each time we would go back to it, they knew who we were.
Yeah.
So now we're even even with using the podcast as a platform, now we've been invited to actually kind of to some degree be a partnership in an annual brew fest that's happening here in Delaware. So sky's the limit. That's the way we feel with the podcast.
Right.
I think it. Oh, sorry, Ron.
Oh no, I was just gonna say because, and if you're a whiskey drinker and you've never really gotten the stout, there's a lot of barrel aged stouts that have a lot of boozy qualities and smells like whiskey, tastes a little like whiskey. So definitely, if you ain't drunk them before, you should try them for sure.
So, I live in Brooklyn, so we had Brooklyn Tap House. There's Beer Wax and other spots.
Right.
I like pale ales.
Okay.
Whenever I do craft beer, I'm like, hey, what pale ale do you have? And I know that I like light beer, but somewhat refreshing, But I'll set my game up.
Okay.
Yeah, man.
They always say it's a beer for everybody, but when you think of alcohol, it ain't alcohol for everybody because that shit.
I do need to get the beer wax. Beer wax is a dope concept, so I need to definitely check that out when
oh
this
man,
COVID.
it's nice.
Man.
Oh man, it was one of my one of my favorite places to go to. It's just a cool spot, man. They have the vinyl records set up in the background. It just brought back memories because my family, like myself and friends, we DJ'd back in the day.
Right.
So you can have a nice drink, but have that old school DJ feel. Brooklyn is legit. I give them that. Especially if you're into beer or just drinking, you'll find something out here.
Oh yeah,
or just drinking.
Just drinking.
Yeah. So just on the podcast, if you got the idea, got the website, I just got to jump in 2 feet and see what happens. That's
cool.
For sure.
Are you iPhone? Are you iPhone or Android?
iPhone.
So just go to that, that good old podcast, app. Lock us in.
Yeah, we'll do. Promise.
Spread that word, man. Get the
We'll do. I promise.
When we drop every Tuesday.
All right.
Yeah,
will. I promise. I give you my word. I'll definitely do that. This has been a great experience, man.
Yeah, bro.
You guys, like I said, your energy is dope, man. You inspired me. And I'll be honest, it takes a little bit. It takes some convincing.
That's what's up.
I'll be honest with you.
We love us too.
Exactly. Post quarantine and pre LA move. We gotta get together.
We can go to LA.
Or post LA. Yep.
They got a lot of brewers in LA.
Well, at least short term, we can all 4 of us can hop into the car and get to him in like an hour and a half. You know what I mean? And that's obviously a lot more doable.
Listen, that works for me. That would be dope. Yep. I'll line up the spots. I'll be the Brooklyn tour guide. Let me know where y'all want to go. We make it happen.
All right,
that works. But actually, I'll be the tour guide till we get to the first spot. Then we're gonna have to Uber.
Oh.
Yes.
Because as you can see, I like to drink. So
nice.
So we're gonna have to figure it out. So you're gonna tell us the plan beforehand? We're going this.
That motherfucker be like,
we distribute that, send that out in advance.
I forgot where we gonna go.
I'll let you know we're gonna go to this spot, this spot. This is where we dump the car, and then I'll just find it. I'll just locate it the next day.
That reminds me of a story. My boy, a good friend of ours, Jason, lived in Brooklyn before he now lives in Jersey, and we would always go up to Brooklyn and come and see him. And we was trashed this one night, and I was the driver. I don't know how I was gonna drive any of us anywhere, but I'm like, I gotta at least be focused to get us back to his apartment. Anyway, we driving back, and Jay, he's on his phone. He's falling asleep while he's on his phone. He passing out. I'm like, how to get to this nigga's apartment. Like, I'm in New York. I don't know where I'm going. And it was crazy. Like, every time I would tap him in the back, like, yo, Jay, wake up. What turn am I supposed to make? He'd be like, now.
Yo,
Like,
traffic wasn't crazy.
Should I trust him?
Traffic wasn't crazy when you was driving, Dev?
Oh, man.
It might have been. It might have been.
Listen,
late.
we've all been there. We've all been there, man.
That traffic, I wouldn't have been able to drive.
Well, it was nighttime. It was like 3, 4 in the morning, so it was less traffic. We were trying to, coming back from a party or whatever. But you know how you even feel when you got a little buzz anyway. You know what I mean? Your judgment is not that
you could
great.
be somewhere that you're familiar with and still be fucked up and confused.
Yeah, so absolutely.
Absolutely. Turn where?
We somehow made it back to his spot though. I was like, I didn't trust.
That's the most important part.
That's
the most important part.
Don't drink.
There wasn't all these Waze apps and Google Maps and all that back then to get you around. People I think was still using like MapQuest.
Yeah, you should.
But you can't. We was out. You know what I mean? We was out that night. There wasn't no print, no paper.
You know, print out MapQuest.
Right.
Brooklyn would do it to you, man. Like
that's fair. A lot of fun times there.
All right. Before we wrap up, is there one piece of advice you want to give? I was going to say the brothers in terms about communicating in relationships, or just in people in general. Is there one thing that you want to instill on people? Is it just communication is key, or is there something else that you want to?
I think my piece of advice, and it's something that I'm working on for myself, is just learning to. I would just encourage people to be active listeners, right? Because people think because you're talking and I'm speaking, we're going back and forth, we're communicating. But if you're not listening and actively listening, that's not communication.
Right.
So. My piece of advice is like you can learn a lot just by just shutting up and listening to the other person, and that's something my brain moves a million mile directions a minute. So, but just actively listen, and just respect a person, respect the person enough to listen and kind of empathize and hear them out to see what they're going through before you have something to say. Like really process it and then speak.
Yeah, that's true.
I've
been trying to work on being being a thoughtful responder.
That's important. That's important.
Yeah, it's really important. Working on being a thoughtful responder. Sometimes I just be like, bow, just bust it out.
You that Pepsi bottle Jay Wesley was talking about, huh?
Yeah.
All times.
Because if you actively listening and then you say something not intentional, and you be like, oh, well, this didn't work out.
That made that whole situation worse.
All right. Well, before we wrap up, we always have to find out how people can find you on social media or the World Wide Webs. So Jay, where can people find out more about what you're doing, more about the collection and all that, even IG, all that good stuff?
Yeah, so on social media, the handle is Right His Wrongs, WRITEHIS, Wrongs, WRONGS. And you can check out www.righthiswrongs.com. And if you're looking for merch, www.jwesleycollection.com.
All right. And Dev, where can they find you?
You can find me on Instagram at DevonAaron_the_great.
Yo.
You can find me on Instagram at 302 Yoda and on Instagram and Facebook at Delaware on Grind.
Right. You can find Lou Belgium at Lou Belgium for your beer needs. I don't think it's underscore. I don't know.
I don't know. Yo, find a nigga when you find him. Where's Waldo? Where's Waldo? Just say that.
Yeah, and you can find Bruising Banter Podcast at Bruising Banter Podcast on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. You can check us out on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, anywhere you listen to podcasts like iTunes and Pandora. And you could go to www.bruisingbanter and get that merchandise if you want to. And check us out on YouTube as well at Bruising Banter.
Yeah,
we gotta hook you up too, Jay West. You see that?
Yeah.
Yo.
Yes, please. Yeah, please.
Yeah.
Then also make sure that you guys go to www.craftforbrew.com and put in the promo code of BBP4. That's B Brews B Banter P Podcast. The number 4.
right? And you said get 15%, right?
Yep, that's right.
15% off. So if you ever had thoughts about home brewing, now's the time. You can get 15% off at craftbrew.com.
Yep, get you a beer kit,
baby.
brew something, do something and brew something. Say that.
I like it. I like it. I like
and
it.
we can drink it, tell your girl to move something.
This has been episode 80. Until next time, have a good week, everybody.
All right, guys.
Week.
Hey.
Thank you.